All right. Hello, everyone. We are getting the stream up and running here momentarily. Let's just go ahead here and do a little bit of this, a little bit of that. All right. Now we're good. All right, let's see here. All right, let's play some games. All that lined up, all that lined up, that's good. So this is the deck we're gonna be playing. We're gonna be playing some Ice Lexi tonight. We're gonna be running a basic 60 card list, and to most people here, you know, we could be running a quiver or something. I haven't really given it a ton of thought. So why don't we just do that right now? We're not really gonna be using Shiver. We're not really gonna be using necessarily the Perch Grapplers. What we can do instead is we can run the quiver in the sideboard here. Honestly, even the main board, but maybe we like having Remembrance instead, just to have a little bit of extra flexibility there. And maybe we are happy to take out like a Blood Rot thing and do another Remembrance in the sideboard. And now we get to play some Talishar. Let's go. Yeah, so basically this is Flesh and Blood, for people who don't know. This is a trading card game, which is going to be, let's see here. I actually should adjust my stream settings, because it's not quite called the right thing. How do I do that? I'm not very used to using Twitch here. Ah, there we go. Flesh and Blood, TCG, Talishar, stream. Alright. Yeah, basically we're playing Lexi, who's a ranger hero, ice and lightning elemental ranger hero, and what she can do is she can fuse her arrows with elements to give them special effects, and we're also going to be using some of the new cards from the new set Outsiders, and so that's mainly going to just be some of these buff cards in the sideboard, which are things like Laced with Blood Rot and Laced with Inertia, which are going to give us some diseases we can give to our opponents, as well as the card Premeditate, which is a really good ranger card because it buffs our arrows by 3, because we're always going to shoot them out of arsenal, and it lets us draw a card at the end of our turn. So we're going to go up against Azalea, and we're going to see what we can do to this guy. So I don't think we're really going to care too much about some of these other effects in here. These are more for the slower matchups. I think we're going to be just happy with what we've got going on there. And I think we will just turn on our quiver, because why not, and go from there. So let's see what we can do. All right. If the music is too loud, please let me know. We're just been trying to punch this guy really hard in the mouth. After he gets done sideboarding, that is. Yeah, you haven't really given this list too much thought yet. It's kind of just threw it together. But mostly we just want to have pretty much all blues and red cards. Normally we might have a couple yellows in a Lexi deck, but see, I really like this right off the bat, because obviously Channeling Fridge is going to make his life a lot more difficult. We also could play Channel the Bleak Expanse, and that's also kind of good. I think what we would like to do here, because if he can't draw cards, and he can't reveal cards, and he can't search his deck, I don't know how that really functions with that. So I think we're just going to go ahead here and play the Channel League Frigid out. Don't need to get too fancy with it. Normally, there's this card's kind of in here for Ninja, and a couple other classes that like to draw a lot. But as it is, it's kind of okay as it is right there. Okay, and then we get to load an arrow here. So why don't we go ahead and load our, what we'll do is we will load our Chilling Ice Vein here. Pick go again. We will pass. We will end our turn. This will let us put this ice card on the bottom to keep our Channeling Frigid. We can arsenal our Bolton Shot. Now, unfortunately, we don't have like a super great way to get it out of there, but we will have our Snapdragons to kind of fix that issue. Whispers of the Oracle. That is an interesting Lexi build right there. In our hand, we've got a couple arrows and a blue card, so we'll be able to fire off a couple things next turn. But we really wanted to see like an attack buff or some other card to kind of leverage this. Oh, he's got a Hemorrhage Bore. Isn't that perfect? So this card will destroy one of our cards in Arsenal if it hits us. So this is going to kind of counter our setup. We actually kind of want him to destroy one of our cards in Arsenal. We don't really care which one he kills. This might actually be just fine for us. Also, the Heat Seeker trigger will happen at the end of the turn, so we can dodge his Laced with Inertia effect as well, if we want to. Now, this would be a pretty simple turn here, is to block out a couple arrows, arsenal our Weatherbane by firing off our arrow, and we'd kind of be happy with that. So I'm not even going to be too upset with blocking here, really. Because next turn, all we can really do is we could fire one arrow, 2 arrows, a little bit of damage back. And they're not really that threatening, so I think we're just happy here to block our 9 damage. If he Rain Razors here, we're kind of sad, but he does not. So we're chilling. So let's go ahead and see what we can do on our turn, which is basically just going to be firing out the Bolton Shot for 4 damage, because, well, we don't want to like spend this card in our hand here. So we just send this out for 4, cost 0. We've got a card in our arsenal that's face up, which means that New Horizon will let us put another card into our arsenal face down. We'll be able to flip this next turn to give our opponent a Frostbite and combo with the Chilling Ice Vein. So, also the Tunic resource. We've actually got a pretty good turn set up here on the next go round, as long as we don't get hit by anything too scary from the Azalea. We kind of missed out on our opportunity to do anything good there, but hopefully he misses out too. That would be ideal for us. This hand's actually really good. We've got an attack buff, we've got, okay. Well, it looks like he whiffed his main ability there. Might be able to opt into an arrow. Okay, Withering Shot. Okay. Okay, that's kind of scary. He gets to rip a card out of our hand. That doesn't do anything. And then he gets to give us a Frailty token, which will reduce the power of our arrows next turn by 1 each. So this is Dominates. We can't really block this effectively, so we're just going to let him hit us here and be sad. And so now he gets to get rid of something out of our hand. He'll probably get rid of the blue card here. That would be my guess. He might be more scared of Premeditate, though. Hard to say. He doesn't know what's in our arsenal. So, yeah. He got rid of the ice card, the blue card. It's a pretty good pick for him there. It is what it is. So what we will do is we will flip this ice card with Lexi, give him Frostbite, which will help slow him down next turn. Then, we know that we're not going to be able to do a whole lot here. What we can do is we can play Premeditate, which will buff our arrow by 3. Then we can use our Tunic resource here to activate our Chilling Ice Vein out of Arsenal. And we will use our Snapdragon Scalers to give this go again, effectively. He's going to let it hit, it looks like. Oh. Go back to reactions. Can't forget to do that. So this will give us our go again. It's going to hit. That gives us our Ponder token, which will let us draw a card at the end of our turn. We're going to replace what we just used, which will allow us to Voltaire, pitching our Flake out, to load our Drill Shot, give it +1, so it's still coming in for 4, even with the Frailty token, which will threaten an on-hit to reduce his armor block, and we will guaranteed get something in our arsenal at the end of our turn, which is pretty good for us. Yeah, and he's got a Frostbite, so he's not really going to be able to use defense reactions very effectively here. And we got his armor block out of him pretty early, which is really nice. And normally I like to give the armor token to the Skullbone because it incentivizes them to block with their Tunic, which can be awkward for them at times. And so we will go ahead here in Arsenal, or Channeling Frigid, draw up, and hey, we got some more arrows. We don't really have many blue cards to use next turn, but that's not terrible. Could be worse, basically. Melting Point. This guy's build's kind of interesting, using the Sand Scour and some opting stuff to just set up a lot of arrows. Just coming in a lot of damage, but I don't know if the Great Bow is really the best choice, because Death Dealer gives you a lot of access to stuff. Now, I love Great Bow, but hard to say that it's the best. He's not going to dominate that, doesn't look like. We're kind of happy with that, because that card, if that hits us, the red in the ledger, we can only take one action on our turn, which is going to slow us down a lot. And honestly, with this hand here, we don't really mind blocking a lot. So, okay, so he's going to dominate it. It's going to be an Infecting Shot, which is going to give us a lot of Blood Rot Pox damage in return. So, what we're probably going to end up doing here, we only have a couple resources. We can't really get our cards out of Arsenal super easily, and he's got another Deadeye, which is actually kind of annoying. I suppose the best thing we can realistically do here is block with our Premeditate, because we want to make sure that he either discards the Flake Out or the Arctic Incarceration, because that'll give us the most things to do on our turn. So it kind of sucks. It's going to do a lot of damage to us here, but kind of unavoidable. Ranger Mirrors are kind of like this, where you can't really get back on the front foot once you fall behind. So if we had landed our first couple turns with a lot of good on hits, we would have been doing this to the other guy. So it kind of just is what it is, in a way. We are getting kind of clogged up in our arsenal here as well. We got rid of the most pitch, which is fine. It's not, but, you know, it's the best we can really do at this point. So what we're going to do here is we're going to activate the Weather Vane, pitching the Flake Out, just to clear up our arsenal a little bit. And we're just going to stick him with 3 Frostbites. This is going to put 4 Frostbites on him. That's basically going to blank his entire turn. We'll take the 2 damage. We can't really do anything else about it. But this will at least set us up for a turn of our own. So we're happy with this overall. Ravenous Rabble, pitching 4, yeah, that sure is. You kind of have to take it. So, yeah, but that's the end of his turn, so that's good for us. Hopefully we can try and turn this game around, because we are really, really far behind now. After those awkward turns where we didn't get to do much, and he got to dominate big arrows back-to-back with the Deadeyes that just ripped cards out of our hand. So what we'll start out here with is the Channel Lake Frigid. Basically, we want to make sure they can't use any defense reactions effectively here, or efficiently. So we set that up. We can use the floating to use our Voltaire. Load our Heat Seeker, which we will just give +1 attack, because what we're going to do is we're going to pitch our Winter's Bite here and throw this at him for 6. If he blocks with 2 cards, we pump it over with Lightning Press, which we will just do now. Just to push as much damage as possible. He's not really respecting it, but we will get to end our turn here with a card in Arsenal, and we have our Lake Frigids on him. So he's going to have to pay 1 extra for everything he does on his turn, which is going to add up really fast, hopefully. I have Ophidia. That's a good card to have at this spot. It's a blue card, so it'll help him pay through a couple more of the things he's trying to do on his turn. We have a pretty decent overall turn here, because the Frostlock, we can keep our whole hand, is going to threaten to rip cards to prevent him from using all of his cards. He's paying 4 to activate his quiver, it seems, or he's trying to. What else do we have here? I guess he's just trying to empty his hand by pitching stuff. I'm surprised he's able to do this much under Lake Frigid. Azalea is normally pretty well known to have very poor pitch, but this guy's deck's got plenty of blues, so maybe he knows something we don't. Be interesting to see what he ends up doing here, because what we really want to do is fire a Frostlock, follow it up with the Endless Arrow, fusing it, and then ideally pitching that card away. Remorseless, I don't like that at all. 5 Dominate, Yeah, we don't love that because we're only going to take 2 more damage from it next turn, and we really need to slow him down. So, and we can't block it effectively anyway, so we're just going to take it. Yep. Unfortunate, but it is what it is. Most of our stuff is instant, so this isn't really going to affect us. We're going to lose 2 life next turn to that card, but we kind of need to throw stuff at him right now. Because we got so far behind at the beginning of the game. So what we're going to do is we're going to use Voltaire, pitch Frostlock. It's going to allow us to load our own Frostlock, which we will choose to give Go Again. We have an extra action point. We will then fire Frostlock at our opponent, using it with this ice card. So it comes in for 4 damage with Go Again, and he has to pay extra to use defense reactions. If it hits, he cannot pitch or play 0-cost cards, which is a lot of the cards in his deck. So it should be pretty scary to him here, and we will guarantee that it hits with Lightning Press. We'll follow that up with the Endless Arrow, and yeah, so he's blocking with the 2 0-cost that he wouldn't be able to play anyway. Another card, we will then react on top of that to get it over, and then we are going to hit. He now cannot use any 0-cost stuff on his turn. We are then going to not use this card because it's not really going to stick, because we don't have any ice cards there. But what we can do is we can fire Endless Arrow at our opponent for 4. He's just going to block out because he can't use any of these cards. And we are going to say that is okay with us. What we will then do is we will use our own Quiver of the Abyssal Depths to... Well, actually, we don't need to do that, right? We don't need to do that. We got his whole hand out of him, and we don't want to get rid of this card here. So no, we're fine. Yeah. I was thinking about that we need to do that for some reason, but we do not. Oh my gosh. Okay, so we have at least an arrow, which is something, but it's not really what we wanted to see here. Flip this to give him a Frostbite to help kind of slow him down again. We will then activate our Channel the Bleak Expanse by pitching a Insidious Chill, which we have 2 of in our hands, so we don't really care which one we pitch or keep. We can't use both of them here. Then we are going to use our Voltaire to load Frostlock, which we will give the Go Again here, just for the maximum scariness. And then we are going to fire it at our opponent, which we will then fuse with the... What? Oh, I can't. Oh, I'm silly. Sorry. So what I needed to do actually was flip this first. Activate Voltaire, pitching the Insidious Chill, loading the Frostlock with the Go Again, fire the thing, fuse with the card that I want to play, because I have to play this after, because it turns off my own abilities. So I have to be careful with that. But that's a pretty good card for us to get out of him there. With the extra action point, we can then play Channel the Bleak Expanse, and then we can activate our Insidious Chill if we want, or we can Arsenal the Polar Blast. Arsenaling the Polar Blast will let us draw a card when our turn starts again, but I think we're going to play the Insidious Chill here, because it sticks on the board, and we're going to be able to do some stuff here. A little bit of anti-synergy with these cards, but it's not the worst thing in the world. Wow, he's gotten some great luck with those types of cards this game. What we can do, though, is we should just be able to block these. And all of our stuff is instant, so we don't really care. We're not going to be able to fuse on our turn here because the channel is out, so maybe we should not have played this card. But what we can do is we can use Voltaire as an instant, pitching our ice card to load our Flake Out. We give it +1, we'll pump it by 4 as an instant, and we'll fire it at him for 4. Or 10, sorry, yeah. So we're gonna do some damage to him here, but he's just gonna take it and probably kill us with some kind of dominate BS next turn, so. Yep. He's probably got us here, unless he whiffs on something. Okay, well that gives us a card in our arsenal, which is nice, because we can fire that out of our arsenal with just a Tunic resource if we want to block everything else. Looks like he's going to be kind of low on cards here this turn, which is kind of nice for us if he whiffed on the top card of his deck with that Codex of Inertia. Because it gets the top card of his deck, not really an arrow necessarily, so he might have gotten a buff, and now he might be thinking, oh, can I risk doing the Blind Azalea here for the Dominate, or, you know, he's gotta think through a lot of his turn here, apparently. Ideally, we could keep our whole hand except for the Channel Lake Frigid and use it to fuse with the Ice Vein to rip cards out of his hand with Insidious Chill. That'd be really nice. And in retrospect, we should not have played the other card there. Oh, it's choose a card to discard? Oh, sure. Yes, we will discard our own Ice Vein here because you're gifted a card off of his Codex, but not really something that we were able to make a lot of use of. And if he kills us here, whatever, it is what it is. We had a really rough start. And we have some anti-synergy in the deck, which we can fix. Lexi's a lot of fun, though. I think the deck building puzzle is a lot of good fun. In the Ledger. Yeah, this is going to kill us for sure. We cannot survive this. We made a good comeback, though, considering the fact that we got pretty brutalized back-to-back. We ended up doing okay. What we will now do is we will go over here and play a new one. Yeah, I think that was not necessarily indicative of how they're all going to go. I think when I played against Dromai earlier, I kind of just ran her over because I had some really good hands. Like, we didn't really get any 3-of-a-kind Rainrazor's turns that game. And we also got like a couple, like, no arrow turns. We got a couple just really awkward turns, which we should be able to fix with having the other quiver, potentially. But either way, we need to not also turn off our own fuse outlet with the channel, even though, because it didn't really do anything to the Azalea. She was able to still use her ability plenty of times. Okay, so we're playing against a Lexi here. That's fine. Guess a lot of people are playing Lexi these days. Pretty cool. Sedation Shot's not necessarily that great into her because she's not trying to end her turn with an arsenal every time necessarily. Although it could be kind of nice. Maybe better than the drill shots because we're not really trying to get armor out of them. So maybe we put these in here as our arrows, and then instead of the lightning presses even, why don't we do some lace with inertias instead? Okay, that's not bad. So what we're gonna do here is we are going to simply, This is a good turn to use the lace with inertia. Basically, we're gonna threaten to get all the cards out of his hand, so we can't really load his Voltaire preemptively, which we probably should have allowed our opponent to do last time. We're gonna pitch. Yeah, we're gonna pitch the Ice Vein here to load our Endless Arrow. We're gonna give it +1 attack, and we are just gonna fire it. Because if he blocks out here, which he probably should, then we get to still Arsenal our Polar Blast, and we're happy with that. So no worries there. We're gonna end our turn with a card that will draw stuff out of Arsenal and give them a Frostbite next turn. Totally chill with that. And our next turn looks pretty good here. We're gonna be able to do quite a bit of dirty stuff to our opponent if he doesn't do the same to us. So hope we got the same equipment, sweet. Oh, I forgot to run the quiver. Okay. But you know, Probably something I should have put in there, but whatever. Ace with Blood Rot. Not really scared of that card. It's just damage. Okay, Inertia Token. I don't really care about that either. Bolt and Shot for 6. I mean, sure. It's not really threatening anything to me here. It's just 8 damage for a bunch of cards, and then 3. Yeah, we don't care. I'm not a big fan of the yellow and blue bolt and shots. I don't think they're quite good. Just very low damage. Like, what if those were some, you know, 4 power arrows that actually threaten quite a bit more damage, right? So what we'll do is we'll flip our ice card, give them a frostbite, which will make it harder for them to play. Then we're going to activate our Polar Blast, pitching a Polar Blast. So we have some pitch. We still have our ice card in hand, so we're actually very happy with this result here. What we can now do is we can now activate Pulse of Volthaven, use Voltaire with our floating, put Blizzard Bolt into Arsenal, give it go again, and fire it off at our opponent. Oh, shit. Fire it and fuse it. So that's coming into our opponent with 9. Dominate. And this will give him another Frostbite when it hits. Now we get to use our Voltaire again if we want. Because we're not going to be able to get an Arsenal this turn thanks to the Inertia. But we can't, yeah, no. So what we're going to do here is we are going to Voltaire, pitching Winter's Bite, loading our Heat Seeker, we'll give it +1, and we will fire it at our opponent for 6. If they don't block this, then we get to let the Inertia token happen before the Heat Seeker triggers, and then we get to draw an extra card, basically. So he will block it, and he's got 2 Frostbites, so his turn's not going to be very good, and so we're just going to take that damage. We're only a little bit behind our opponent now, even though we went first, which is normally bad for HP, but he's just going to attack us for 3, and we don't really care about that, do we? We got a pretty good hand here, so we're just going to let that through. That is not threatening at all. That card's not amazing in Lexi, and that card's not amazing either. Like, I'm not really trying to block with any of my stuff, so you can have it. You can have an 8 damage turn off 3 cards. That is not amazing. We're going to do quite a bit more than that right back at him, so. Okay. So now what we are going to do is we're going to open up with Premeditate, which is going to give us some plus damage situation here. We're going to keep the ice card in hand because we might not draw an ice card, so we're going to activate the Tunic for a resource, use that resource to play 3 of a kind to draw into some more cards. Luckily, we did get an ice card, but we needed that blue pitch for sure. So what we're going to do, we're going to use Voltaire first by pitching the Weather Vane. We're going to use that to reload a Bolt and Shot here and give it +1 and go again because we're going to double up on these buffs. We're going to send this in at our opponent, and the nice thing is that the Premeditate lasts the entire turn, while the, not the attack buff does not, but the Ponder token part does. We do get the Ponder token, we get to reload a card, and we're going to reload 3 of a kind, because why not? We are now going to be able to play another 3 of a kind, draw 3 more cards, and we have 2 arrows left that we can load this turn, so we're going to use Voltaire again, and we are going to choose to load our Frostlock here. We will give go again. We will fire this, pitching our Weather Vane, fusing with Frigid, because we want to set it up for our next turn. So this is going to really turn off his hand if he's got a lot of 0 costs in there, and make it harder for him to block, so that's fine with us. That's going to hit, so he's under the effect of Frostlock. We are now going to be able to use Bullseye Bracers to load Flake Out and fire it, fusing with Lake Frigid, coming in for 6 Dominate, and we can't use any cards in our hand because of the 3 of a kind, so we can't actually play these cards out. We'll just hit them with Dominate and be happy with kind of messing up their turn a little bit and pushing a bunch of damage. There's a consideration to not use a 3 of a kind there, but I couldn't really resist. If we had gotten a couple other like Bolt and Shots perhaps, we could have also gone for more reload. So we are going to go ahead and Arsenal the Channel Lake Frigid, which maybe we should reloaded the Premeditate or like Arsenal the Premeditate because of the pitch value, but this is fine. Like, we can block out that with 2 cards, flip. Yeah, not really concerned here. We'll just block here for 6. This is stopping 7 damage. Depending on what he plays here, Remorseless, Tunic, short. Yeah, so what we're gonna do here is we are just going to block 3 because we're not actually going to be under the effect of his on-hit effect here. So by hitting us with that, we can now go to our turn, use Lexi to flip, give him a frostbite. We can go to our arsenal, and we take no extra damage because we didn't play any action cards, and we set up a bigger turn for next turn. Still don't have an ice card used with this like Frigid, but we can still shoot some arrows next turn, so that should be good. Be curious to see what our opponent can do here. They're running a lot of generic non-fuse type arrows, which don't tend to be that debilitating. A lot of the times these arrows tend to be more focused on, fix the camera just a little bit here. They tend to be more focused on raw value instead of trying to nullify our own value. We need our whole hand here if we want to send multiple arrows out, but we're not going to be able to fuse Blizzard Bolt or Flake out. So what would be nice here is if we just block 6 here. This will prevent him from getting the extra arrows off of the Endless, and we're happy with that. He's not really going to send anything else very threatening at us for the remainder of his hand. Yeah, Searing Shot, that's just damage. We don't care. Yep. Take some damage, that's fine. Now what we are going to do is we are going to activate Premeditate out of Arsenal. It's going to give us +3, draw. We're going to activate Voltaire, Pitching Frostlock, to load our Heat Seeker, which we will give our +1. We will fire that at our opponent. This is going to come in for 9, I believe. And we will not get to choose the card that goes into our arsenal, so we do get kind of a lesser value off the Premeditate here. But if he blocks it in either case, we don't really get much going on. We really want to get this like Frigid in play, because it's kind of just doing nothing sitting here. Kind of gotten a little unlucky on that respect as well this game. If we had an ice card in pitch right now, we would have probably even just played it out and arsenaled the Heat Seeker for next turn, but it was not really an option this time. So does he give us his hand or does he block out? No, he just gives us his hand. So we get our Ponder token, which we're not going to be able to really use. We have an Ice Vein in Arsenal, which is fine. We have a... we can block with 3 cards and use our Tunic to fuse it, and then even Snapdragons it to play our Chain Link Frigid after, which could be pretty good for us here if he's attacking with some multiple arrows. But these are blue arrows. These seem terrible. I mean, 2 damage. He's at 7 life. I mean, he has... the onus is on him to do stuff to us here. I mean, still, that's only 5 damage. Not really scared of that. Bloodrot Pox. See, now the question is, can we kill him next turn if we don't block here? Because if we have 4 pitch, a couple arrows, we can send out the Ice Vein using the Tunic resource, fuse. All of our cards are gonna rip cards out of his hand. I'm not gonna math it out, we're just gonna go for it. And we're gonna live dangerously here. If we fail to kill him here, we die. But I think we can kill him here. So what we're gonna do is we are gonna start out with the Find All Spring Tunic. We're gonna use that to fire Chilling Ice Vein fused at our opponent for 5. If this hits, he has to pay a resource or lose a card out of his hand. He's gonna block, which is fine. We're gonna Snapdragons to get it go again. Okay, we have an action point now. So now we're gonna activate Voltaire by pitching our ice card. Now that we don't have anything more to fuse, and we are going to load a Heat Seeker for go again. And we are going to, maybe not the Heat Seeker actually. Hold up, let's undo that for a second. If we activate Channel Lake Frigid here, we can have 1 resource left over to load the Bolt and Shot, which can reload the Endless Arrow, which won't kill him. I think we trolled a little bit here. But what we can do we can pitch the Bolton Shot to load the Heat Seeker for now. Give it the go again. Fire it by pitching the blue card. And we're gonna try and live here. No, we're so dead. We are so dead. We definitely overextended ourselves. But such is life. It's okay. It's the fun play, not the good play. And GG. All right, let's do a couple more of these. These are going pretty quick. So let's do that. Go over here. And then, pull up our deck list again, because we lost it. All right. The quiver didn't end up mattering, thankfully, but yeah, maybe thinking a bit more is going to be better in these games. We can't just autopilot and win, but we were really close there. I mean, we just blocked a little bit better. We still had a turn, so gotta use our brains, unfortunately. Can't just YOLO the game. Even though it is the more fun way to play. Cool, all right. Everything's looking good over here. Yeah, I think the only thing that's really not been working out for us is just being a little unlucky on the ice draws. We run plenty of ice. That's not really the issue. I don't think we've seen more than like one incarceration red. Yeah. Just been a couple awkward turns. Nothing huge. Nothing huge. A lot of these cards in here are more in here for like the slower matchups that tend to be more defensive. Getting rid of their arsenal is normally pretty debilitating, like for Icelander or Oldham. But yeah, this card's really just in here for Ninja, but it does kind of negatively impact us. So I might need to tweak what the deck's doing or be a bit more careful. But it's a blue ice card, and those are pretty important to have. So not necessarily bad. I just have to be, again, more thoughtful on how we play. But yeah, the deck's mostly reds and blues, actually. The only yellow card is Rain Razors. And normally a lot of Lexi decks will run a lot of yellows, like yellow Blizzard Bolt or yellow Chilean Ice Vein. But so far, what I've been finding is that you're normally not trying to use your yellows to pitch anyway, like even on a turn where you could. So the all red and blue list has been feeling pretty good overall. It's just Rangers, so you're playing a more high variance deck. Probably need to just put that on to not forget. And the new quiver does help with the variance, because you can pitch a blue that's not really doing anything for you and use it to reload your arsenal with an arrow if you see one on top of your deck. So kind of helps there. And hopefully we can get into a match here. I don't want to just sit here the rest of the night. I want to play the game. Some other interesting things about the about Lexi, just as far as the tools she has access to, are going to be things like these 3-of-a-kind turns where you can draw 3 cards for 1 resource, which is very powerful. It's very high. Okay, so we got another Azalea, so it's been all Ranger tonight, I think. We've been going first a lot because we're trying to set up the double arsenal, but maybe into Azalea we don't want to do that because we want to leverage our benefit into them. So maybe we are happy to take out the lightning presses, and you know what? We're just gonna keep everything and just see what happens. Okay, so we're letting them go first, which is fine because this hand's actually not very good for us. So although we could have Insidious chilled, arsenaled, it wouldn't have been bad. But no matter what our opponent does to us here, we can kind of block and be happy. If he dominates here, we're not super happy, depending on what he hits. Kind of up to the RNGesus, as the case may be. Okay. So maybe going second's not the correct choice, but you're not going to get going first all the time. So that's actually a really dirty card for him to hit here, because it's going to really make our next turn here kind of terrible. So what we are just going to do... Oh, man. Yeah. We are going to block 3 and take a whole bunch of damage. There's really not much we can do. Ooh, that is scary. Alright, so what we're just going to do here is we're going to play 1 card, take in that 1 extra damage, and we're going to Arsenal or Premeditate, try and set up a bigger turn next turn. But, oh man, do we regret going second. That really should have been going first. Because we just can't block the Dominate, and he hit us with a pretty debilitating move there. And we didn't really have anything good to play either, so just kind of unlucky in that way. But again, sometimes you'll get it, so it's good to be on the receiving end, see what you can do. But we're starting the game 10 HP down. That's not good. And not having the armor block on the hands and feet, trying to give them more aggressive Bullseye Bracer and Snapdragon's route is kind of awkward. Because it's going to be really hard to find that pivot turn to really... Especially to keep hitting these Dominates. I mean, oh my god. There's really not much we can do to that. The best we'll be able to do here is shoot a really big Cold Wave at him and drop the Arctic Incarceration, and hopefully that'll help us stabilize. We're going to take 3 extra life next turn, on top of whatever he pumps this with. Hopefully he doesn't have any buffs. Oh, go again. Interesting. He's kind of struggling with his hand, it seems. Oh, we can't really afford to block this, so sure. Take it. And then what do you got for us, friend? He wasted 2 block for go again, and 2 resources. That's not a really good trade. Bolt and Shot for 5. Okay, sure. Okay, and he can't even use his last card, so that's awesome. Great, we love that. Okay, so we're going to use our Premeditate, taking the 1 life, can't really avoid it. Then we are going to use Voltaire, pitching Frostlock, load Cold Wave for go again. We are going to fire it, fusing with Arctic Incarceration, and it's going to rip a card out of his hand with the Insidious Chill. And it's also going to come in for 5 because we're going to pump it with our Lightning Press here as an instant. So, and he's going to be unable to use any defense reactions he might have without paying extra for them. So this is going to be a pretty good pivot for us here, hopefully. This is coming in for 8. He's going to have to give us a whole bunch of cards if he wants to not have this hit him, but he's got a lot of life, so he might just take it all, which is fine because we're going to pump him with the Lightning Press to just dunk him for 11. And then we're going to hit him with the 3 Frostbites, which is going to make his turn really bad. So we have our Snapdragons here, so we will Arsenal. So we took 3 damage to play out that turn, but we ripped effectively 2 cards out of his hand because we ripped a full card and we dropped a Frostbite. So we basically took a whole blue out of his hand that he can't really get around with the cost reduction type stuff. We have a very red hand here, which is unfortunate. We will be able to attack with our Frostlock and then maybe the Endless Arrow, I suppose, without using too many resources, but it is not what we wanted to have happen here. Not what we wanted to see. We wanted to see a blue card, and we run, I mean, 21, so we should be seeing 1 almost every hand. Oh, or basically, okay. So we ended his turn. He couldn't really do anything to us, apparently. Must have bricked his arsenal. So what we are going to do here, now we've been graciously granted this, this situation. Use Lexi to flip the Frostlock. We didn't put anything in the chat. We're going to use our Tunic resource to use Voltaire. We want to get the X resources from the Heat Seeker, so what we'll probably end up doing here is doing Heat Seeker, pitching Endless Arrow, Frostlock, pitching Endless Arrow, fuse with this, Snapdragons it to give it the ability to dunk another Arctic Incarceration on him. So this is, oh, yeah. Okay, so that hits. So we're happy with that. Now we can use Frostlock out of Arsenal, pitching Endless Arrow, fusing the Arctic Incarceration. So we're gonna do the same thing again. We're gonna rip the card out of his hand with Insidious Chill. He's not gonna be able to use any defense reactions he might have without paying extra. And if this hits, he can't use or pitch 0-cost cards, which is the other he tends to run quite a bit of. So we will then also be able to Snapdragons here depending on how he blocks, to just make sure he cannot play again next turn, and so we're just going to try and keep him on the back foot as much as possible. Again, this is Ranger Mirrors. This is apparently the night of Ranger Mirrors, so it is what it is. So if he doesn't block here, we can snap in our Incarceration as we have, so we will do that. So Snapdragons, yep. Okay, so that hits, so he can't use any 0-cost stuff, and he also has to pitch 3 extra to do anything. So we are very happy with that. Even though we didn't get to really get a double Arsenal, we still get a single Arsenal off the Heat Seeker. So we're actually kind of happy. We have a card in Arsenal that's going to be face up, so we can shoot around it with our Voltaire thanks to New Horizons. We're not going to get clogged up in our Arsenal. He's not really going to have much of a turn, and we are going to just keep putting our boot on his neck here. Okay, and we actually have a pretty good hand this time. We have another Arctic Incarceration, so we're going to do it again and be able to really dunk on him here. This is great. So now we are the one who's doing all the mean things. So let's do that. So we will start with a Premeditate. Pretty sure I mapped this out correctly this time. We're going to Voltaire, pitching the blue card, loading the Ice Vein, give it go again. You're going to fire it, fused, which is going to make him either pay 2 or discard, and then he's going to have to pay 1 or discard if it hits. So it's kind of a really brutal situation for him here. He could pitch an entire blue or this Tunic resource and the yellow card here, but we can also shoot the Blizzard Bolt at him and guarantee the, okay, so he discarded some stuff. We can fire the Blizzard Bolt and he has to discard another card if it hits. So we're actually kind of happy with throwing the Blizzard Bolt at him here. Yeah, fused. And so this is going to be coming in for 5. If it doesn't give us 2 cards, it's going to give him a Frostbite anyway, and rip another card out of his hand. So this is a pretty dirty turn here. Yes, we will get the rest of his hand, and we can save the Arctic for later. And we get the Ponder anyway, so we get to pick our Arsenal. We are going to choose the Arsenal of the Arctic Incarceration because we want to keep the blue pitch. And oh no! Oh dear. But it's not the end of the world. We have actually kind of a decent turn. He's going to shoot the Hamstring Shot at us, which isn't going to affect us very much, but we really need to bring that other quiver into the deck list. We need to stop trolling. Oh, and he's trolling because he just doesn't get a turn. He was really hoping on that one. Okay, we'll take it. So we'll do one more because that was not necessarily, we can't get none of that one. So go back to our deck list, and we will now put in the correct card that we should really have had from the beginning, and we will probably take out the 1 Remembrance for that, make our change, and not troll anymore. Okay, here we go. So we've got our Quiver of Rustling Leaves to help us get out of a full no arrow turn. We have our normal equipment that we had before, Arcane Barrier for Ranger or Wizard matchups, as well as our Fatigue Quiver, Quiver of Abyssal Depths. We've got our normal 60 card list and some cards we haven't really run much of because they're kind of unnecessary, into the Ranger matchups at least, because we'd rather have a high density of arrows and pitch rather than having buffs on our arrows, generally speaking. We run Rain Razors because it's kind of pitch and it's also going to buff multiple arrows, which can be really strong. Premeditate's basically a Snatch or a Plunder Run, or as people like to call it now, Ponder Run. But outside of that, kind of happy. Okay, so this is going to be interesting. So this is a Guardian. So we want to make sure we actually shift our focus around a little bit. And I don't know why Voltaire's inside. We need to make sure we bring that. Otherwise, we cannot play the game. We don't know if we are... Okay, so he's going to go first. So we're going to try and... We want to keep the drill shots. We would like to be able to keep him from arsenaling stuff. That should be pretty good for us, actually. So what we'll do here is we'll... It feels bad to toss a blue card for a non-blue. But maybe we can toss our lightning presses for some laces, and he's gonna maybe try and fatigue us. So we'll run a couple of these guys and hope that that keeps our ratios okay. It should be all right. Not really terribly concerned. And everything looks good, and we'll say start. Okay, so we've got our sedation shot, which will help us slow down his setup. Hopefully. Tectonic plating. We want to make sure we do not want to be auto-passing priority in this game. We want to be able to respond to anything that he does. Sure. Pitching, Command, and Conquer. Okay. He's going to Bravo right out the gate, and he's going to attempt to pass his turn. We're going to say, okay. We're going to pitch our Cold Wave for a Voltaire. Load Sedation Shot. See what he does. We still have 2-3 blocks in hand, so if he attacks us with Hammer, we're happy to block here. It's not a big deal. Yeah, and so he's going to attack us for 4 here. He's not going to really pummel us, so we're just going to throw the Cold Wave in front of it and hold our pitch card this time, I think. Taking the 1 damage, not really a big deal. And okay, cool. We got kind of rewarded. We can now do a pretty big Frost Lock into a Sedation Shot, it seems. So let's do that. So we're going to start with Lace with Inertia. So we can put this on 2 different cards. We are going to not really get a lot of value out of Chain Lake Frigid into this matchup. So we are going to try and Voltaire. Pitching Lake Frigid to load our Frost Lock, give it a go again. We're gonna fire it fused and come in for 7. So he has to give us quite a couple resources here in order to be able to, you know, he doesn't run a lot of 0-cost cards, but he might have like energy potions or some cards like Sink Belows that he might have wanted to be using. So we're making his D-Reacts weaker for the rest of this turn. And we're presenting 2 different ways to give him a Arsenal screwing play. So, and we're gonna be able to Arsenal this Winter's Bite or play it in between if we want, depending on what he does. So, got a lot of options here. Which is why we like to play Lexi. She has a lot of options, so even if you pick the wrong ones, like when you play badly and you don't think through stuff, you can still do some cool stuff. So we're gonna let that hit. Give him the multiple on hits. He didn't give up anything from his hand, so we want to force him to do that by playing out our Winter's Bite. Give me a card. Give me a card. Basically the, okay, so we got rid of a pummel. That's very nice. And now we're going to throw our Sedation Shot. So he's still not going to be able to D-react it really efficiently. And it's going to just come in for some more damage here. And yeah, so we're guaranteeing that he kind of has a bad Arsenal time on his turn here. We got a full red hand, so we're actually kind of happy to just block this out. And maybe try and keep a Ice Vein. Yeah, because we're going to reset his arsenal. You know, we're not doing a whole lot here. So we're just going to Arsenal. So we're like a card ahead on him. He's going to try and come at us with a big Dominated Hammer here for 7. That's annoying. We really kind of like this hand. However, if we don't lose the 3 of a kind, we actually still have a turn. So... and I get to choose which ones we discard, right? Yeah, we have to choose the ones we discard. Okay, so we're definitely letting this hit. And we are going to use that to discard our 2 arrows. I think the buff is compelling here. So we're gonna do it this way. So we're gonna take some damage, we're gonna play out our buff, use our Final Spring Tunic, get a resource, play 3 of a kind, draw into some resources and some stuff here. I'm gonna fire out the, not necessarily the Chilling Ice Vein first. That will make us give up our snaps too early. But that's fine. We'll do this. We'll pitch our Winter's Bite. We're basically getting that effect anyway. We're fusing this. Going in for 9. He has to give us 3 cards, or he loses a card out of hand. If he gives us a red card or he discards something, then we can snap it. Okay, so he's keeping very few things. Okay, we're happy with that. What's he gonna do? Okay, cool. So now we're gonna snap dragons to get Go again. Yep, we're gonna Voltaire. Put Endless Arrow with Go again while his stuff's on the chain. We're gonna fire that at him with Go again. So if he hits, we get to get it back. So he's not gonna let us do that. He's gonna block his armor, which is fine. All right. So we don't really have much to do here, but what we can do is we can pass, end our turn, arsenal card that draws us a card next turn, and what's he gonna do? So he's got some blues coming in with Command and Conquer. Well, that's very rude. However, oh, that's so annoying on this turn where we have bad block. That's so annoying. Drat. That sucks. Well, can't do anything about it. Good card for a reason. Yeah, whatever. What we can do, though, is we can set up a Heat Seeker play and draw effectively into that card and just kind of immediately replace it. So what we could do here is... we could use one of our Rain Razors. So here's what we'll do. We'll do this. Put our Heat Seeker in Arsenal. We will give it a Go again to kind of conceal what we're doing here. And we're gonna fire it for 5. He might just let it hit, which would be really cool. So then we can just dunk him for 4 more damage. Or we could just use 1 Rain Razors and Arsenal the other one. We've already seen 1 Command and Conquer at the bottom of the deck. It's unlikely that he's gonna hit us with another one. So what we will do here is use 1 Rain Razors to pump damage. We will now go to our arsenal with this. Cool. So we have a pretty good turn here if he doesn't kill our arsenal again. So let's hope that doesn't happen. He's basically gotten rid of all of his armor already, which is a lot. Spinal Crush is annoying. Super annoying, actually, because if we take 4 more damage, so if we don't block 6 here, we just don't really get a turn anyway. We can block 4 because all of our stuff blocks 2 in hand. This is, again, kind of terrible. Wow. Yeah, that sucks. Damn it. Well, I guess what we'll do here is we'll block 6. And we will just drop the Arctic Incarceration on him here, ripping the blue card out of his hand effectively, and letting us try and set up again. Because we're equal in life still, we're ahead on armor technically, so we still have a way into this game. Again, as long as we don't Command and Conquered right here, or a severely bad disabling on hit, we should be able to make use of our hand here. Fire off a whole bunch of stuff, it'll be really good. Hopefully we get to do that this time. This is basically just Ranger hard mode, because Guardians have a lot of debilitating on hits and are really strong and have a lot of good armor, so they can really leverage that and get on that front foot, whereas we cannot really then swing it back, right? So I think we started out with quite a, at least we started out ahead, but now we've kind of fallen to even keel here. Command and Conquer really messed us up, and then the Spinal, so he's probably just trying to figure out what he's going to do with his turn. Maybe he's got a lot of expensive stuff in hand. Okay, he pitched a Spinal. Happy about that. Okay, sweet. He ends his turn. He can't do anything. Let's go. Okay. So the first thing we're going to do is we are going to activate Rain Razor. There's no reason to hide it. We can't really play around hiding it here. What we can do is we can pitch... We're only going to launch 2 arrows this turn anyway, so what we're going to want to do is pay for Flake Out with Bolt and Shot here. We're going to pay with Bolt and Shot. load Flake Out into Arsenal with Go Again. Wait. No, that's not a good fuse effect. We're not gonna do that. Instead, what we're gonna do, we don't really get any benefit out of fusing here. We are just gonna Voltaire our Insidious Chill Away to load a Bolton Shot with +1, so it's coming in for the most damage possible. 7, Go Again. We're not gonna get the reload this turn because we've got the Endless Arrow in our arsenal, but we've got an extra card there, so we're kind of happy with that anyway. What we're gonna be able to do here is, okay, that's fine, yep. Okay, Voltaire. We're gonna use Heat Seeker. Go Again, we're gonna fire it. 7. Nice big turn here. I've already thrown 14. We're gonna throw even more damage at him here. This is why Snaps is so tricky to make use of, but we can throw our Endless at him here for 6. Again, that's a very nice big turn here. 20 damage turn, right? He's holding everything, so he's really trying. If this hits, we just get it back. Can't really use it for anything, except for maybe putting some arrows back in our deck if we really wanted to. Okay. So now the question becomes, do we try and go for the Arsenal here? Because we have the Heat Seeker. We're gonna get the double Arsenal off. Yeah, I guess we just go for it and hope he doesn't have anything too great. So Channel Lake Frigid, we'll keep the Endless Arrow there because we can actually play it without resources. Crippling Crush for 11. Okay. So if we block 8, we don't lose our whole hand. But if we keep 2 cards, depending on the 2 cards we keep, we can actually have a pretty good turn anyway. So if we keep our blue and our arrow, we're happy. Sort of. We can block 8 here and guarantee a good, no, we're doing this. We're blocking 8. He's gonna probably pummel us. Do we care? This is the most telegraphed pummel ever, right? We want to get it out of him though. Because it's not going to do much if it hits, so not a big deal. Sweet. All right, now we can premeditate into Endless Arrow. It's coming in for 7. If he doesn't block it out, he dies, but we get another card draw if he lets it hit. So we get to choose some more stuff to work with. So very happy with that. Now we're in the lead. This is amazing. When the deck works, it works. When it doesn't, it doesn't. It's kind of card games, right? Guess he's thinking. Ooh. It goes down to 1 here and gives us the draw. That seems to be not the correct play. But I guess he was really trying to hold on to the pummel he might have had or something. Okay, here he goes. What will you do, sir? My microphone's right in the way of the bottom of the chat there, so I have to keep looking at it like that. Cool. So that's gonna hit. We are not going to. We don't go again. We don't have any action points, but we are going to let the Ponder token see what we're gonna get, and we're gonna Arsenal the Ice card because this is going to give us a card draw. So that's coming in for 6. If it hits us for 4 or more, we cannot gain power next turn. So I think we will just block with our Station Shot here. Okay, there's the pummel. We don't really care about that too much. We're gonna discard our Remembrance because who really cares? And now what we're gonna do is we're gonna use Lexi, flip our Ice card, give him a Frostbite, make him harder to play, make it harder for him to play defense reactions. We're gonna keep the Ice card in hand because maybe we can get some use out of it. Use the Tunic for a resource, activate Polar Blast, draw a card, we get a Channel Lake Frigid. That's actually really good for us. Because now he's gonna have to pay whether or not he gets us to dominate, and he has no more armor, so he has to pay. Or he dies, right? Unless, because he would have to pay, yeah, this is really good for us. So he pays, That's really awesome for us. We're then going to activate Channel Lake Frigid out of Arsenal. We're going to use that. We're going to play that by pitching Lake Frigid. We're going to use Voltaire. Put Endless Arrow in there with +1 and fire. So he's going to have to give us... oh yeah, well, I guess there's no point to do that. Well, it doesn't matter. He's not going to... we're not going to hit with it anyways. We're not going to really be able to use the go again. That's okay. Get all that out of him. End our turn. Keep Lake Frigid. Bottom this. He shouldn't be able to do anything. So it's our turn. We have some arrows. So now it is time to hurt him very badly. So we're going to do that. Eisenhower Weatherbane is not really what we want to be doing here. So we're going to use this. I'm going to pitch, flake out, flake out. We're going to load our Bolton Shot for +1. Fire it at him for 5. Go again. Blocked with 2 cards. Great. Pass. Resolution. Now what we can do is we can activate Weathervane and then Bullseye Bracer in the Drill Shot, or we can just play the Drill Shot. We're just gonna play the Drill Shot. Come in for 5. He has to give us 2 cards, which he does. Great. Still can't do anything. Put these in the bottom. Now we just really need to kill him. Okay, so now what we can do, we have a bit more ice to work with this turn, so we can start with the Eisenhower Weatherbane, pitching a blue card. We're then going to activate Voltaire to load Blizzard Bolt for go again. We're going to fire it fused. Just going to give him some Frostbites guaranteed. He's going to come in for 5, so he has to give us 2 cards. We're basically just clearing up the arsenal because now, depending on how he blocks, we can kill him, I think. No, I think we can definitely 100% kill him here. We just need to play the Winter's Bites right now. Rip a card out of his hand. I think the only way he lives here is if he has a blue and a sink below. But even then, I think this still kills him. So I think he's 100% dead here. Yay! Okay, so that is Ice Lexi in the new kind of like big ranger meta. She's very disruptive. She's able to, with these ice cards, right? We can go back to the deck list for a second here. Kind of just get the main 60 because that's what we run in basically everybody, right? We have a couple attack buffs, but we're really relying on the base damage of our arrows and all their on-hit effects to get through on our value and not really worry so much about pumping one big arrow and trying to force the damage to dominate. So if you think about it, if I attack someone with a 5 and then a 5, if they block me with their 4 cards from hand, they're overblocking by a considerable amount. Whereas if I attack someone with 10 and they block with 3 cards, they'd only overblock by 1. So we're able to get a lot more value out of these awkward breakpoint cards. And on the Rainrazor's turns, or the Premeditate turns, or even sometimes the Lightning Press turns, we're able to get enough damage through to be able to chip them down while also, again, hitting them with the Arctic Incarcerations, preventing them from using a whole card out of their hand or multiple cards if they have fewer blues. Or we could even do things like Channel Lake Frigid to stack that up and a whole bunch of other debilitating effects. So that's the deck. If you have any comments or improvements that you think you can make to it, I'd love to see them in the comments. I'd love to have any discussion going on about how you think the deck can be improved, what weaknesses you think it might have in the meta, and I'm looking forward to some good discussions. So thanks for watching. Hope you have a good time, and I will see you next time.